This video is an excerpt from our weekly podcast. Go and watch the full podcast, check the link in the description of this video, or support us on Patreon at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming.
Here's a bit of a long devil's advocate question on loot boxes and if you guys consider them a hardline or if there might be some acceptable grey area in the middle. Boy, you are playing with fire. Let's see where we go. Let's say loot boxes in and of themselves are universally banned by law as gambling. A lot of freemium and good ones too, like Path of Exile and Warframe, rely at least in some part on loot box purchases. What are some solutions you think might work that clearly avoid gambling concerns but still allow the use of loot boxes as something to be purchased? Would a limitation on amounts per month be sufficient, or should they not be purchasable at all? If the latter, would it be acceptable for them to be an incentive for real money spending, such as you buy a supporter pack or a skin and the tier of a pack purchased or so much money spent in total, or as part of a monthly subscription you get loot boxes as a bonus? Effectively, they'd be a thank you for supporting our game sort of perk in that scenario. Or is it just too much of a damn risk to bother with them anymore? I won't deny that they can be fun. Not that they've ever intentionally spent money only on loot boxes. Any I've opened were always a perk or bonus for some other real money purchase, or they were free, but then that's the core problem, isn't it? That gambling can be fun. Is there ever a time when loot boxes are acceptable, even if we outlaw them as gambling? Is there ever a world in which we would accept them or believe they work? Straight answer, just no. At the very base level, if we get rid of the gambling stuff, this bad game design. If we're going with a supporter like pack, like loyalty kind of reward type, why would you want something random? It's just going to be something. I'd rather know. It's like a Kickstarter. You get rewards for your pledge tier. If I pledge this much, I want to know what I'm getting, not just getting some random thing with maybe the chance of something cool. I don't see that as worthwhile or a good solution. I mean, even if you take out the gambling aspect and you make them transparent and you can see what's in them, then what's the point in it being a loot box? Just make it's just a purchase at that point. Like you know what you're getting, and it opens, confetti and sparkly lights, but you're just buying it then.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I think for me, if it was my choice, just just bury them already.
Just hardline them, get them out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's my personal preference, but I know some people do find the fun in them. But you just got to question, like, why are they fun? Because they tickle that itch that gambling gives you, right? That's the reason why they're so fun to open, is because they give you the same kind of response, physiological response, as gambling does when you win.
They're deliberately designed to do that. That's part of the reason the gambling question is so important, because they are using the same tools that a slot machine or a casino would use, with the sparkling and loud noises and instant feedback.
They are psychologically manipulating you or tricking you into having more fun with the game. Let's be honest, right? No fun is ever enhanced by a loot box. No game. And if it is enhanced by a loot box, your game was shit to begin with. You need to design your game better. If loot box is the best part, it makes no sense to leave them in. Just make good games. Just work around the fact that you can't make money off loot boxes. And I know free-to-play games will die. Answering specifically the question, what are some solutions you think might work to cleanly avoid gambling concerns but still allow use of loot boxes as something to be purchased? I have no solution for that. There is zero. You cannot avoid the fact that it does give you the same psychological payoff as gambling does, and therein lies the problem, right? This is why we're rallying against kids being subjected to these things. Yeah, they're fun. They're supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be addictive. They're supposed to keep you come back and play and do it more often. Spin our wheel daily, and you can win. You can win extra. You get big surprises and that. It's a trick. It's a psychological manipulation, and it shouldn't be anywhere near games. If a game's good, like I said before, you should not need to coerce somebody and trick them psychologically to come back and play it. Your game should be good enough. The game mechanics should be good enough. It should be a compelling gameplay experience. You shouldn't need these psychological tricks. And I think that's a prime indicator for me of a game that isn't any good. If you've got to go back to play the gambling mechanics, then the game itself sucks.
I don't like this kind of idea that, they're free to play games, they've got to earn their money like this way. That's not my responsibility as a player. It's not my responsibility. My responsibility as a player starts and ends with playing the game. That's it. If I don't have to pay for it, I don't have to pay for it. You can't assume or expect players to pay for something if you've already made it for free. It would be nice, it's a little extra thing, or if you want to do skins and cosmetics and shit. I have no problem with any of that sort of stuff in a freemium game. Most of the time they still bend the rules and make it really grindy or some bullshit anyway. If they make a free-to-play game and the loot boxes get taken out, that's not my responsibility to solve that problem. It's their responsibility. You made it free. If you can't finance it on a free-to-play model without loot boxes, your choices are either shut down, unfortunately, or start making a premium game. Start selling it to people. It probably won't work. The game might die, but it's not my responsibility or anyone else's responsibility as a consumer to do that.
Yeah, there are a couple of options. I mean, if you take loot boxes off the table out of games like Path of Exile or Warframe as the cited examples in the question, you can still monetize and probably make enough money. You probably make less money without loot boxes, but you can still monetize it. You think about Battle Pass system or something like that in Fortnite, where you pay a premium, you pay a recurring monthly fee, and you get extra rewards or you get extra gameplay. Or it doesn't have to be gambling. You don't have to have gambling in your games. That's just an extra bit of bullshit that they use. The extra hook that they get to get you hooked on it, just keep you coming back and paying, and it shouldn't be anywhere near gaming. Upselling into a subscription-based thing is one. Another one is like asking for pledges. Obviously, the problem with upselling people and having rewards tied with a subscription or a purchase is that you then segregate your player base. Pay to win questions get raised.
Oh yeah, none of it can be gameplay altering like that. It has to be
exactly.
Just like
you have to be very
bullshit.
Careful with how you do it.
I hate the kind of thinking, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but some of the phrasing in this question, I'm like, I'm hearing developers being like, oh, support us if you're our best fan, our best player, buy this loot box. And I hate that stuff. I think it's really manipulative. You see public figures, especially like big YouTubers, do it all the time. It's like, oh, I need your support. It's like, and they guilt you into doing it. Don't do that. It's a choice. We upload to YouTube and everything for free. That is a choice. And then it's a very, very pleasant, surprise or something when someone does support on Patreon. There, you are under no obligations to do it. You don't have to buy the skin. You don't have to buy the loot box just because a developer needs you to for their support. They don't need you to. They're already making loads of money, especially those games. Path of Exile and Warframe, they're popular. They're doing well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think if you give someone a decent experience, then they will morally owe you something anyway. I've played a few games in the past where I've been like, this is free and I'm having so much fun. I feel bad that I've not contributed anything. Or it's the same with like a YouTuber or something. It's like I feel kind of guilty that I've gotten so much out of this that I haven't contributed. I want to help them. Maybe I'll look for a way to help them that doesn't involve gambling, that doesn't involve a psychological trick or me trying to be manipulated. The problem with the gambling thing is that it makes the whole thing seem dirty. It's just my cynical brain going in overload. But there are better ways. There are other ways to do it. You think like Wikipedia, for example. Not everyone likes that website, but I use that quite often, and I have donated to them in the past because they've asked, because they said we're in trouble. All you have to do is support us once, and it mean the world of difference. I use the website so much. Yeah, there you go. Have a donation. That makes sense to me. That is justifiable. If it was like, pay us $5 to support us, and we'll give you a free spin of our wheel, I'd be like, nah, mate, that's just not right. So yeah, there are better ways to do it. Don't let them fool you, confuse you into thinking that loot box is the only way to do it. These are gambling mechanics, and it was only this week that I think is it Brazil have come out and started legislating, and there was a UK inquiry thing that came out this week, equating them to another damning report from the UK saying that loot boxes are akin to gambling. It's just a matter of time. These mechanics will be out of games, or they'll be 18 plus games for a reason, because they damage you. I guess that's a bit of a loaded term, but imagine if every time you wanted to use the bus, you were forced to smoke a cigarette. It's a bit of an extreme analogy, and people will probably not comparing this and that, but imagine not smoke a cigarette, right, take a hit of nicotine, right? So you're not physically doing your body any damage, but you're getting your body psychologically addicted to the effects of
just
a
little
smoking.
Each time, just a little
jab of nicotine in your blood system. You're not technically doing any damage to yourself, but you're getting the same effects as what smoking would be. Imagine that. Imagine the uproar. No, you can't get on this bus until you have this little shot of nicotine. Same kind of thing. Probably a bad analogy, but it's the best I can do.
Well, most people could handle that little prick of nicotine, just a little bit every now and then. Most people be like, oh, that was something, and now I can move on with my day. But there will be plenty of people, maybe reformed smokers as well, people who have quit. That will be a problem for them because they won't be able to stop because they're already, predisposed. I mentioned it in one of the videos this week. Companies like EA with their FIFA Ultimate Team and stuff, they're not looking to hook you or I, or you viewer, presumably, you watch a channel like this, you hate this sort of stuff. They're not too fussed about getting you, they're fussed about getting the people, the whales, the people who are already addicted, and the kids who don't really know what they're doing, which is part of the reason why it's such a problem. And in the study this week, it said that 5% of their study accounted for half of all spending. So that 5% spends that much because they are addicted, because they've been designed to be so. They've been designed to manipulate you psychologically with pretty lights and confetti and, ooh, have a pink gun. There you go, that'll make you happy. I know you wanted the yellow one, but it's coming. You'll get the yellow one if you just open another box, and then maybe another one.
I'm not sure if you're expecting that torrent of negativity, Deoth, but I think we've made ourselves clear on how we stand on loot boxes.
You did say it was the devil's advocate question, so I'm hoping you are
zero tolerance, man. We've got absolutely no tolerance on this channel because of what they stand for, because of what they're trying to do. It's the manipulation, just doesn't sit right. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to go and watch the full podcast, head to the description of this video and you'll find a link to our new podcast channel, or head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and get early access.